What is up, fight fans? Michael Hernandez here, MLH Media Podcast. We are back once again, another episode, this time joined by one of women's bantamweight's rising stars over there in Northern California. I believe Sacramento, California is where you're staying at the moment, but
Yeah,
Auttumn Norton over there out of MMA Gold. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Obviously, been pretty excited to talk to you. Actually, I know we had a little bit of a text message exchange, and we're talking a little bit about possibly speaking beforehand. But some things happened, and obviously now we're getting to speak after the fight. And I mean, wow, what a performance you were able to put on over there at CFFC 132. I mean, the Emily Martin's KO, that was everywhere. What was your kind of reaction? I know you're very you carry your heart on your sleeve, I would say. You know, you're a very emotional fighter when you go into that cage. How was your reaction and just the overall outlook after that performance?
I mean, it would take me a while to process it, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, I was really super confident going in, so I don't know. It was it happened a lot faster than I thought it would, but satisfied with the performance. But I'm ready to put it behind me and look forward to what's next. So.
Yeah, and I noticed that's something that you said you wanted to kind of carry on. I was watching a couple of your interviews before, and you said, you know, you would carry on to losses, you would hang on to them a little bit more, and then the wins, it would be a little bit harder to let loose off of. Is that something that you feel has kind of been able to, now you're kind of being able to find your stride and everything's kind of been clicking because you've been able to carry this mindset of, hey, after you win, it's just a win, or after you lose, it's just a loss? Because I feel like that progression is pretty evident in your fighting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as I just get older, and just more experience overall, I have gotten a lot better of just letting things go, and I'm a lot better at like detaching myself from the outcome of the fight. Like whether I lose or win, you just forget about it and you carry on. And what I've learned, even after my wins, is like, don't put so many expectations of yourself for the next fight, like depending on your last performance, because it makes you carry just the weight of the world on your shoulders, and um, every fight is a new opponent. It's a new whole new ball game. We're talking about no fight is going to be the same. So yeah, I've gotten just a lot better at carrying on. So, we're going to forget about the last fight and look forward to what's next.
You were extremely young when you started your MMA career. I feel like that's something that maybe, I know we're talking about separation from the pack, but that truly does separate you from the pack. I feel like there's not really a lot of women that, first of all, have as much amateur MMA experience as you had. I believe you had about 8 amateur fights and then went into pros at about 25 or so.
Yeah.
That's a pretty young age. Do you feel like that also had a little bit to do with the maturity and being able to kind of recognize, like, okay, like how you were saying, you just be more comfortable with those with the outcomes and results at hand?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really important for fighters to have a long amateur career and kind of just get as many fights as you possibly can, because it doesn't really matter once you go pro because your record starts over. Like, who cares about a record, And I'm super grateful for having a decently long amateur career. It got me that experience, and I had a lot of like layoffs in between because I was working for a while, and for the longest time I was working as a correctional officer for about 5 years, and I hadn't trained for like a year, and I was kind of lying to myself for a long time, saying, okay, this is enough. I can live a normal life. I can be normal. This is enough for me, But oh man, it ate at me for so long. And then one day I was like sitting at my desk and I was like, yeah, I got to get out of here. I got to go. Like, what am I doing? And I literally wrote my letter of resignation right there and quit 2 weeks later, and started training full time again. And then I think a couple years later turned pro. And a lot has changed even since then. It's been a while. I live in Sacramento now, train full time. I would do work still, of course, but my boss is super good with my training regimen and everything's working out,
Yeah, and I love that you pointed out that you actually, I believe you're originally from kind of that Sacramento, Northern California area around there, and then you moved to Reno, right?
Yeah, I lived in Susanville I was raised there my whole life, and then after I left my job, I moved to Reno. I lived there about 4 years, and then about 2.5 years ago, I moved out here to Sac.
Yeah, and can you kind of explain how that has progressed your career? And I feel like a lot of people, especially just watching your fights, I mean, they've been able to see your progression underneath Coach Jim, underneath MMA Gold and Jim West over there. Just it's been magnitude. I mean, to see your hand fly in the cage and just to really let it all out there. Do you feel like they've been a key piece to that puzzle, or do you think it just kind of like how you said, it's all came in time?
A little bit of all of it. I think a lot of fighters, they try to rush their careers, or you have a lot of people around you hyping you up and putting things in your head. And not to say that you shouldn't have confidence, because you absolutely should, but you just have to make sure you don't have people around you who are lying to you and just filling your head with nonsense. And I have a great team behind me right now, and Jim West has been amazing. I have an amazing manager, Dave, and my boxing coach, Marcus, best striking coach in the game, like by like just a whole world. I mean, he's been amazing, and to have Jim in my corner, it's just everything's just going really well. Once you have like just the right people around you, things just start turning out better all around, in life and then in training and stuff. So I'm just thankful to have everybody who I have right now.
Yeah, smooth train has been on the roll for Autumn Norton, but just I mean, talking a little bit more about your kind of, I mean, if I would say that win was huge for you over there at CFFC, I feel like I'd be speaking a little bit in lower magnitudes, because that win kind of, I feel, rose just like skyrocketed your name in that bantamweight women's division. Do you feel like now you're kind of one of those names to watch out for? I know that you may have felt that way already, but do you feel like now it's just like, all right, like there's only so much more I have to prove before it's almost undeniable at this point?
I think I try not to have like a mindset of, oh, I have to prove things. I have to prove to everyone and prove to myself. It's just, I think I just go out there and be myself, and I'm able to be free in there and able to perform. That's when I'm most dangerous. And I don't put too many expectations on myself. I work really hard. I have a good attitude in the gym. It's just, I think just all the little pieces together, it just makes it whole, is what it is. I'm kind of getting off track now. Here I am getting philosophical. But
This is the time to get philosophical.
yeah.
I know you said at Invecta you didn't want to get philosophical on them, but this is the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's plenty of killers in the division. There's a lot of people on my radar. Um, I just take one fight at a time. That's it. One fight at a time.
Yeah. And speaking about Invicta, they're actually making their return this upcoming weekend. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you're a little bit tapped in with that. They're going to be over there live on CBS Sports. What has your thoughts been about the Invicta comeback? I know it wasn't too long of a layoff for them, but they were still kind of having a halt there in hosting events. They're actually going to be having their women's bantamweight championship as their main event. Is that a fight that you're probably going to be watching a little bit closely, especially because you have a pretty good record over there in Invicta?
Yeah, I'm definitely watching. I have a couple people who I know on the card, so just be watching. Invicta's great. Invicta's definitely, it's part of the regional scene, just like CFFC. But man, I remember watching the very first Invicta before I even started training. Well, one of them, when Rose Namajunas flying armbar that chick. I was like 17 and I was watching, and I was just mind blown. I was like beside myself. I was like, no, I was like freaking out. I was like, no freaking way. But yeah, and then started training after that, and I remember telling myself that I would, one day I'll be signed by them. I'm gonna do it, and I eventually did. And my contract recently ran out. Had 4 fights with them, and then we were gonna get on the Invicta card, but then this CFFC spot opened up, and who would say no to a title fight? So
100%. And are you signed up most likely for championship defense, I'm guessing, over there in New Jersey?
I got something coming, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say yet, but we're looking for an opponent, so hopefully it works out. I asked for someone tough, so.
I recently seen one of your teammates over there. I know we were speaking a lot about MMA Gold. A teammate you consider pretty close, Kelly McKay, recently signed a contract over there with CFFC as well. How is that kind of for you it's just a rain of kind of good news for you guys. You getting the title over there at CFFC, and then her earning a contract, obviously very, very well earned. her having a very nice amateur career and then earning that win last at A1 Combat. What are your thoughts about the signing and seeing Kelly McKay possibly on the same card?
Yeah, I'm super happy for her. Kelly and I are roommates and teammates, obviously, but she's awesome, dude. We met in Reno a long time ago, and like we've been friends ever since. And she's an amazing grappler. This girl is a dog on the ground. Like she's so good, super decorated. Brown belt. It's just awesome to have her in the room with us, and we're good friends. We have so much fun together, and it's just a good vibe in the house. And trainings are always really good, and she's definitely a name to watch out for sure.
Yes, she's going to be fighting more, I believe, on a card upcoming over there. Recently signed a kind of like how you're saying, a 4-fight contract for them as well. But then I would be remiss if I didn't speak about your other teammates. I mean, you got Aspen Ladd over there. You of course have Katarina, and then on the man side things, you have Anthony Hernandez, Shaylor Ladd. How is it to be in the room full of all these? I mean, very high level competitors. But not only that, but you guys, I feel like you guys all kind of have that same work ethic of wanting to really push the grindstone, push that envelope, and it shows in your guys' fights and the way you guys are in the cage.
Yeah, I think you know, a lot of people looking from the outside in, I could see how it would be really like eye-catching to be part of like a huge team and like a big gym, you know, a big name, whatever. But we're like a very like smaller team, and we're pretty like closed off. And so anyone who comes in to train with us like is typically like invited by Jim or, you know, someone. But yeah, I mean, everybody works so hard, and I see it every day. And I've known Jim and everyone for a very long time. It's a great thing going on over there. Everybody pushes each other. We have like a few people who are coming up right now who are about to turn pro, who are about to smash the scene. Like it's gonna be crazy. But yeah, have Aspen in there. Like Aspen's an amazing grappler. Um, Fluff is a dog. Like we see him on every card. His name is about to pop up too. But yeah, just having like a group of motivated people who are on the same mission, it's inspiring.
Yeah, your and Fluffy's relationship is probably one of the funniest out of everybody in that gym. I mean, I've never seen a group just go at each other. Like you guys are probably two of the chirpiest teammates at each other. Can you kind of go into that dynamic and how it is to? Because I mean, everybody knows Anthony Hernandez, just a super laid back guy, super chill, and then you kind of you're pretty quiet. So how does this dynamic work? Because I mean, once you guys are in the gym together, if anybody in that has been in those gym doors, anybody that's been around them knows exactly what I'm speaking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Anthony's like a big prankster, and so am I. And recently, I put a pretty funny bumper sticker on his truck, and he was driving around all day with it on, and it was hilarious. But I can't say what it said, but if you know, you know. But yeah, we're all just jokesters, you know. I mean, we're lucky we can't say most of the things we say to each other or do to each other. So, you know, if you're in the room, you know. But it's we keep it fun. We keep it fun.
Hey, even if you guys follow them on Instagram, I mean, you will see them back and forth, just kind of posting some memes at each
That's
other.
hilarious.
Some of the funniest gym, quote unquote, not beefs, but I mean, little chirps back and forth that I've ever seen has been like, I'd probably say top 5 funniest exchanges I've ever seen on Instagram with just everybody. Everybody starts chirping in, and yeah, Fluffy with the you guys got to shout out the decaler that's making you guys all these bumper stickers. Or how are you guys getting these?
I had a friend give me them. She gave me like a pack of them. So I have a pack of them in my car, and so I kind of just keep them on deck in case I want to throw one on my teammates' cars or something. So you know what I mean?
Hey, that's the way to do it. I mean, it's always good to stay prepared, as they say, and in the fight game as well in the funny business. But you know, I know it has been a great time getting to speak to you so far, Autumn. Just a couple more questions for you. It's been an awesome pleasure to get some of your time here today. But I mean, and we were speaking a little bit earlier about kind of where you think you lie in that women's bantamweight division. And I mean, just to speak about a little bit, I mean, some of the heaviest hands that I've seen, at least on the regional scene. And do you think kind of with the UFC, I mean, there's been a fan thing, the lack of finishing in the women's divisions at the upper levels, you know? Do you feel like possibly you can kind of be that that next fighter, that next women's superstar that kind of shows that finishing prowess. Because anybody that has been able to watch your fights, I mean, even that UNF 11 fight, even though it went to 3 rounds, you were absolutely putting an amazing dominant performance that I think a lot of UFC fans would quite enjoy as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. It's I think I don't really like think about it too much, but I guess there aren't a lot of finishers in the bantamweight division, but if you're not finishing fights in the regional scene, then you're not going to be finishing them in the UFC. I think Dana White recently quoted that, but I mean, why not? I guess, you know. Like I'm not the funnest thing about fighting, I guess, is like when you watch me fight, it's like I'm not just like a hard hitting person. Like I'm very athletic. My footwork, my movement is on point. You know, when I'm in there and I'm loose, I'm having fun and able to be myself. So I can either go, you know, a 3-round fight and be slick and athletic, or I could have that one punch power, I suppose. It's, you know, I feel like I have a lot of range when it comes to striking. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see, but yeah.
Yeah, and I believe a lot of that credit, like how you were saying, goes to your coach Mark Reeves over there at Underground Lab FC on Instagram. I was trying to think of his @, for the longest time during this call, but yeah,
That's
Underground
okay.
Lab FC. He's someone that's been instrumental in Northern California, just getting, I mean, across the board. I mean, he works with you guys, he works with Team Alpha Male guys, he works with so
Mm-hmm.
many people up and down Northern California. So I just want to kind of give him a little bit of a highlight here. But just speaking a little bit more about you as well, Autumn. I mean, not only have we been saying, like, obviously you're kind of where you lie at in, you know, the women's bantamweight, but I mean, I love that the mental health approach that you take to fighting as well. And you've been someone that's very advocating about that, about, you know, if you don't feel right, to be able to take that step back and reevaluate. Is there kind of anything that you wanted to maybe say in this call today? I know June men's mental health month, but obviously mental health awareness all throughout the year. Is there kind of anything you wanted to say in this call that maybe someone out there, they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do, they don't know how to get it out, that you would want to share? I mean, someone that's that's been at the highest of highs, and then obviously you've had your own lowest of lows. So kind of just want to give the floor to you to
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it often. I grew up in a pretty rough childhood home, and I feel like after my fighting career, I really want to be able to do something for the youth and stuff like that. Um, but I don't know. It's like I feel my mindset is like no matter what hand you were dealt, it just depends on how you play the card. You know what I mean? And like I'm not supposed to be where I am today. You know what I mean? I'm really not. But I just feel like we all have choices in life, and like no matter where you were raised or who was around when you were raised, like you don't have to be like you don't have to take the same path as them. You can be your own person and go your own way. Um, and I feel like sometimes it's really hard for like even obviously like little kids to kind of like get out of that mindset, you know. But if you just have like good mentors around and you know, just trust yourself and like realize that you know you can like just take your own path. But I remember like at a very young age, like um just being surrounded by the things that I was surrounded by, just like having this like extreme sense that I was like gonna be something more, and like that I wasn't gonna be like, you know, what I was around. Like I didn't have to take that path, and I didn't want to, and I just always felt a strong um just like pull towards something greater. You know what I mean? I'm not really explaining it very well, but you know, but
No,
I don't
if
know.
you
I
want, you
think
can go into it as much
okay.
detail as you feel needed. I mean, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, like I remember just being like a little girl and just thinking like, man, I know I'm meant for something more. Like I'm meant for something greater, and I always knew it. Like I can't tell you what it was, but it was just something in me that I always knew. And as I got older, of course, I had some rough moments. You know, I was a crazy teenager. I was wild. I was insane. I was expelled from 3 different schools. Like you name it, I've done it. But after school, like, you know, I had crazy party years. You know, whatever. Got a little bit of trouble here and there, but got it together. And once I started fighting and like training, um, it changed the trajectory of my life. It really did. And meeting all the people along the way it's been such a blessing.
100%. I think that story is very inspiring for anybody that is out there. I mean, to go from being expelled 3 times from 3 different schools to being a corrections officer to now training full time and in a very, very prosperous MMA career. I think little Autumn Norton would be smiling up at what she has done with her 30-year-old self now. I mean, you've done it all, and like how you have said, I think the younger self of you would be proud. But is there anybody else that you wanted to thank? I know you have tons of supporters. Obviously, you have sponsors that help you out, coaches, anybody that you wanted to thank in particular for not only this last fight camp, but for the ones upcoming and for everything that they've been able to help you out with in your career.
Yeah, I have tons of people like who have supported me from my hometown and from Reno and stuff. A couple who have literally been with me from the beginning. Diamond Casino, to where I had my very first fight at 18, and they've been sponsoring me ever since and been such a huge help. Jamie Ediok with them, and my boy Mike Zarati, he's been amazing. We used to put his face on my fight shorts, so just a picture of himself because he didn't have like a business logo or anything. And he recently got a logo, so thank God. But it was funny
No
because
more
people always
grandma.
ask me that. But yeah, exactly. But, and then my buddy Denzel, he sponsored me recently, and he's been such a huge support. My boy Bill with Marble Maniacs, he's been amazing. Like, we hung out there in Pittsburgh. He lives out there, so he was able to come to the fight. It was so cool to see him there. We went to lunch and stuff, and we had so much fun. And he's a great dude, and he's been there for me, like, so, just had my back completely. And I appreciate everyone. My girl Kelly, with Battleborn Athletic Training. She's been amazing. A good friend of mine, we used to work together, and she's been sponsoring me. Just tons of people. Like, I have so much support. I'm just so blessed, and I'm excited for the future.
I'm very excited for the future that you guys are carrying over, or that you ladies are carrying over there at MMA Gold, as well as the gentlemen over there. A ton of things to watch out for. Please, as always, keep me updated. But I gotta know one more thing before we end off the call. Pittsburgh, did you get a Primanti Bro sandwich?
I did not.
Oh,
dude, it was
man,
it was crazy because like after the fight, 10 minutes later, I was just like casually in an Uber, and I'm just like, what just happened? Like, I was like in shock. So everything happened so fast, and I was like, okay, well, there's that. I didn't sleep at all that night. I was so wired. But we'll go back. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one next time.
No, you're gonna have to. I need the review from Autumn Norton over there. It's definitely a staple over there for Pittsburgh. So you got to try out the Primanti Brothers sandwich. But Autumn Norton, is always a pleasure to get to speak with you whenever, if it's in the gym, if it's at a fight event. Now, so glad to have you on the podcast. You are always welcome on anytime you want to come on, anytime after one of those signature knockouts. You know, I mean, I won't be to say that I'm the first in line, because I know you got a podcast that sponsors you. But you know, if you want to ever come on here, you know you are always more than welcome. Michael Hernandez here of MLH Media, and we are going to be signing out over here by Celia, California, with my homegirl over there in Northern California, Autumn Norton. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to be signing out.